All right, we are back in session and we're ready for our next case. And this is Mr. Frank. Pronounce your last name.
Fregia.
Fregia. What's your DSC number, Fregia?
It's Fregia, and it's
Fregia.
428-356.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Fregia, my name is Cheryl Renard. So this is Mr. Roche and Mr. Freeman. Let me read some identifying information, and then we'll get started on the parole interview. You're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 25-year sentence for possession of meth and indecent behavior with a juvenile. You were sentenced in October of 2011 in Calcasieu Parish. You have a parole eligibility date, which is December 16, 2022. If you do not earn good time, you have a full term date, June 17, 2035. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And before we start the interview, I want to acknowledge that your mother, Ms. Bridget Parkins, has joined us, and she's on Zoom observing. So we'll start the interview. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Roche. Would you answer his question?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Fregia.
Good morning, Mr. Roche.
How you doing?
I'm very good, sir.
Yeah. Sit back and we're gonna have a conversation, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fregia, you're currently 46 years old
Yes, sir.
and you've been convicted of 2 felonies and you did you have a trial or did you plead to this offense?
I took an Alfred plea.
You took an Alfred plea and you agreed to serve 25 years, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been incarcerated approximately 12 and a half years so far, is that correct?
This July should make about 13 years.
12 and a half years so far, right?
Sir?
You've served 12 and a half years so far.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's talk, what's your current job assignment?
I work in prison enterprise as the tool room clerk, tool room orderly.
Okay, tell us exactly what you do for prison enterprise.
Well, I started off as a carpenter. And then I ended up in the tool room, passing out the tools, taking inventory of the tools. At the end of the day, I count all the tools and put the toolboxes up once the other inmates are done with them.
Tell me, do you have any other vocational skills besides carpentry?
Yes, sir. I took the NCCER core, and I have I took the rigging, cabinet making, crew leadership, and a couple others that I've taken.
Since we're talking about programs, let me go over your program. You completed Life Choices, Living in Balance, 12-step programs. You completed your sex offender treatment in 2013, 100 hours pre-release. You got your GED in 1995.
Yes, sir.
You have several NISA certificates, and you have multiple in-service award certificates from prison enterprise.
Yes.
Did you take any victim awareness?
No, sir. I think they just started that class up here.
Well, I think you need to take some victim awareness. Have you taken any anger management?
No, sir.
Have you taken Thinking for a Change?
Yes, sir. I'm in it right now. I have maybe 1 week left, and I'll be complete.
Do you have any children?
Yes, sir. I have three sons.
And so have you taken any parenting classes?
No, sir.
But I also see that you've taken multiple faith-based programs.
Yes, sir. I've completed that program and I've earned my associate's degree in theology from Cornerstone.
Right. I think you need to get with Warden Thomas, Warden Simon, and see about taking some victim awareness and some parenting classes. I think that would very well. Are you a trustee?
No, sir.
Okay. And you have letters of support from your supervisors and prison enterprises. Let's talk about your drug and alcohol issue. And illegal drugs.
Well, at 13 years old, I started smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol. Till 19, I started doing hard drugs, ecstasy, cocaine, acid, and then later on I got into methamphetamine, and that's basically in a nutshell. That's it, you know.
Okay, now, I see you've taken 12 steps, you've taken living in balance. Have you ever had inpatient treatment before incarceration, or have you had any treatment while you were incarcerated?
No, sir.
Tell me about your transition plan. Where do you
My
plan to live and where do you plan to work?
Oh, okay. I plan on going to Chenault at Greg's. It's like a transitional house. It's in Chenault in Lake Charles, and I plan on working at Stratigraph out of Lafayette. It's a on-land drilling company as a mud logger.
Have you secured that job already?
No, sir. I know they're hiring though, and they hire ex-cons.
Now, Mr. Fregia, I want to enter this into the record, and I want to let you know that you have overwhelming express opposition from multiple sources.
Yes,
The
sir.
second judge has stated he strongly opposed based on a plea agreement that you made with the state of Louisiana and the victim and the victim's family.
Yes.
He stated he is adamantly opposed because of the plea deal. The DA's office has written a very strong letter opposing your early release. All the law enforcement agencies are strongly opposed to your early release. The victim is adamantly opposed to your early release, and the victim's mother is vehemently opposed.
Yes, sir.
Warden Thomas, Warden Simon, would you like to make any remarks, comments, or observations at this time?
Oh, sir, I don't have any comments.
No, sir, I don't either.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, this could be,
May I say something, sir?
no, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Well, actually, I think this, before we vote, this is your opportunity to make a brief statement, Mr. Frank.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say that I was lost in my addiction. And I know I was wrong. I take full responsibility for my actions, Bridget. And I am truly sorry. I mean, you knew how I was, And I just made a mistake, so
Right.
please forgive
Right.
me.
Direct your comments to the board.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I'm sorry.
All right, well, thank you, sir. That is entered into the record. I think we are prepared to vote. Mr. Roche will be voting first.
All right.
Appreciate,
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to talk.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Fregia, based upon the plea deal that you made with the state of Louisiana and the victim and the victim's family, I think you've served insufficient time on your sentence. Overwhelming express opposition from the judge, the DA's office, law enforcement, the victim and the victim's family. I think you need some additional substance abuse education and/or treatment. You need to take victim awareness based upon your early use of drugs and alcohol. I think this is a necessity before you release. Based upon all the above reasons, I am denying your request.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for y'all's time.
I concur with Mr. Roche.
And I do agree the need for, we got some more work to do. We want to be sure that you, not about just getting out of jail. We want you to stay out of jail. We want you to be successful. So you do have some more work to do, Mr. Fregia. So my vote today is the same. You will have the opportunity to enroll in the programs that have been suggested, and you'll have the opportunity to reapply for another year.
Yes, ma'am.
I encourage you to do that. When you get those
Yes, ma'am.
programs.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
luck to you. Good
Thank
luck.
y'all.
You're getting-
Did he complete sex offender club?
All right, that's it, man.
All right, thank y'all. All right. So, programs are gonna.
Cockroach.
Or do I have to apply for them?
Go crawl back into the little hole which you came. Yeah, that is it. Short and sweet. That's the victim's mother. She was giving him, rightfully so, proper death stares, as would I. Yeah, you heard at the end, they said, did he take sex offender classes? And I didn't hear them ask about that, which I think is great because I don't think that he did. And he's going to come back in 5 years. They passed a new law, a beautiful law, which makes it that these offenders can't apply for parole every year or 2 years. They have to wait 5 years. And that is to protect the families because of what it puts the families through, right? So in 5 years, hopefully he comes back completing those programs, but doesn't have the programs he'll definitely need to get a chance at parole. And then he'll have to go another 5 years. And, you know, this story, he took the Alfred plea. I know that most of you watching are know exactly what an Alfred plea is, but it's you know, as a refresher, it's when you don't admit guilt, but you admit that there is enough evidence to prove your guilt. And so you're pleading guilty to that without stating that you actually did it, which now it's interesting because I don't think we've seen very many Alfred pleas, if at all, that I can recall for these types of cases. Because I mean, there's a lot of things, right? Like you might say the victim, it can mean a lot for the victim, especially in this case, it's a child. The only evidence that they had was the child's word against his. And we have seen, I've seen, maybe you have too, from other cases where it does mean a lot to the victim for the perpetrator to admit guilt. And in this case, they are not admitting guilt. Now here's the thing. He appealed the sentence of his Alfred plea, which I just think is wonderful, right? So the prosecutor said, do an Alfred plea. They ended up dropping from the aggravated rape of a child to they dropped it to indecent. Let me see, where is the actual words? Okay, 2 counts. So they dropped it to just 2 counts of molestation of it, and one of the counts was amended to lesser offense of indecent behavior. So, and this is what he was going to do the Alfred plea to, and they told him probably you'll get 5 years, maybe you'll get 8 years, maybe you'll even be suspended sentence. And if that's surprising to you, then you probably haven't seen enough of these hearings yet. Yeah, that we sadly have seen plenty of hearings. People who have done this to 3-year-olds, to their own kids, to their own 3-year-old grandkids, okay, and get 4-year sentences. We've seen people get just 5-year suspended sentence, no jail. They don't need to get jail. The only reason we see them at these hearings is because they didn't follow by the terms and they got revoked. So there are a lot of crazy, ridiculous sentences giving out here, and I'm sure very well he was expecting a light sentence. And this Judge Cooks, who we should give plenty of respect to, gave him, this cockroach, a 25-year sentence. And he was, I wish, it would have been priceless to see the look on his face when the judge, and whatever the judge would have said too. I would love to hear that speech. But yeah, the judge gave him a 25-year sentence. And so he appealed the sentence, which you're allowed to do in these Alfred pleas. And he actually references, they reference other cases where people got just like 6 years or 7 years for pleading to the same type of sentence. And yeah, you probably don't want to read all of that because it's pretty disturbing. But this judge said no and gave him the 25 years. And he is going to hopefully serve all of those full 25 years for what he did. And he was facing up to life imprisonment in Louisiana, although I don't think we have seen any life imprisonments for or anything close to that yet. No. For hurting a child. They'll give you life for stealing someone's purse as an habitual offender. They'll give you life for possession with intent to distribute as an habitual offender. And he also got an habitual offender, by the way. This 25 years was part of getting it was because he was an habitual offender. They should have given him 50 years, 100 years, in my opinion. You harm a child, you change her entire life. You change the course of her life and maybe her kids' lives. That should be looked on. That should be looked on by the courts as for what it is. And the idea that they don't is mind-blowing to all of us. Oh. At least to most of us. And that's part of what really gets me fired up. How is it possible that we understand that giving someone who does that to a child a slap on the wrist sentence or in this case, 25 years, which we feel so great about because we're so accustomed to these little sentences. But how do you do that? How do you do that as a system? How do you recommend it as a prosecutor? How do you offer these sentences as a judge when you have other options? And we look here and we watch it now that these court hearings are on YouTube and we can all see it, and we're pulling our hair out and we're yelling at the screen and we're saying, why? Give me one good answer. Why? And you want to say, well, they don't want to put the child on the stand. And that's a whole different discussion, because that answer doesn't tell me why you give someone 4-year suspended sentence. That answer doesn't tell me why you give someone a 6-year sentence. You're telling me that they do that to a child and you all of a sudden your hands are tied? You can't, the plea deal that you give them can't be 15 years instead of the life sentence you'll get if you go to court? No, you give a 4-year suspended sentence? Are you mad? But I do believe there has to be something going on. I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but for any judge to hand down that sentence, there's something wrong in their head. Because there's no way that judge will sit here and explain to me how it's okay and I'll accept it. It just won't happen. I saw, and I'm thinking of putting it on my second channel. If you're not familiar, I do have a channel. Type in Mandu2. It will show up on YouTube, and I do cases outside of Louisiana parole hearings. And Richard sent me a case, and maybe I'll put it up there. It's this person was in front of the judge for his third offense of being a cockroach. His third. And the prosecutor was recommending a 10-year sentence. And the judge said, why would we give a 10-year sentence? I wish I knew the judge's name off the top of my head. But I don't, man, I could hug him. He said, this is his third time. When is it enough? He said, no. I'm not doing a 10-year plea deal. And he said to the prosecutor, why would you offer a 10-year deal? And the prosecutor said, well, his prior sentences were only, this alarm clock, you gotta be kidding me. The prior sentences, he only got a 2-year and for one of his sentences, and he got a probation for the other. So this is a much bigger sentence than his prior 2 sentences. This is the prosecutor, not his defense attorney. That was the prosecutor's logic. Because he only got probation on the first and 2.5 years on the second, this is magnitudes of a more stringent punishment for his third offense of harming a child. And the judge said, well, what happens when he gets out after 10 years? Then what? And the prosecutor, you know what the prosecutor said? We'll see. I'm going to put this on the second channel. It's a short interaction, and I don't have any backstory, which is what I was trying to find so I can provide more content. Than the whole thing lasts like 3 minutes. We'll see. We'll see. You mean the prosecutor will see? We'll see how many children he hurts after 10 years when he gets out? how do you how do you say something like that on a public record? So you can see from these things when it's televised publicly that yeah, the system is broken. And the judge said, no, we're going to trial. This is going to trial. And that means the child is going to have to take the stand. But again, that's a different discussion. If I have a hard time. I'm not going to say put the child on the stand, but you know what? I have seen plenty of scenarios where the children or the abused get up at these parole hearings and they talk out, and they were never given the opportunity to take the stand, and they say that they would have. So plenty of the times these prosecutors and judges hide behind protecting the children when it's utter BS. Yes, the court trials can be messy. You don't know what juries will do. His word versus her word. A lot of these children come from broken homes, and everyone who gets up on that stand can say something that might lead to a mistrial. But if that person had taken someone's life, would they be making excuses for them to avoid trial? No. And that's because it's the norm. So until our systems start to view the cockroaches in the same light as others in our criminal system, until then, we're going to continue to have this problem. But I think that change is around the corner. Starting with the recent movie that just aired. That was my rant for today. And thank you for all supporting and motivating me to continue doing this, because it is your love and support and encouragement that keeps me energized. With that, I'll let you go.